Let's turn our attention to the other political news back home. Andy Burnham has unveiled his list of ministerial aides, bringing members of Labour's leftmost socialist campaign group back into the fold. It is the final touch of the new Prime Minister's reshuffle, and it means that his government does have a 50-50 gender split. But the party's critics point to the fact that only one of the great offices of state is led by a woman, that is the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, and Labour is still the only long-established party that hasn't been led by a woman. Let's talk to Rosie Duffield, independent MP now for Canterbury, having quit the Labour Party after the 2024 election. Rosie Duffield, a very good afternoon from Times Radio. It's a decent split though, isn't it? I mean, women do have half the seats at the top table for the first time. Where are you on the level of being impressed or not impressed?
I mean, that looks great, doesn't it? And, finally we've got to that 50-50 gender split. But it's really about where the actual power lies, like you alluded to. And the idea that there's only one very, very senior position occupied by a woman, and the fact that Labour still cannot get anywhere near to seemingly having a female leader. And it's the power underneath. It's the power in number 10 at the top of the party, and the people who really broker these decisions. That still, I'm afraid, leads to a culture in the Labour Party that is sometimes called a boys' club.
Why can't Labour get to the point where it is led by a woman?
Brilliant question. I think it's complex, but I think the history of the party is very steeped in very male union roles, those senior roles in the party, and the people that make all the decisions being held by men. People like Mandelson, who held a huge, very powerful position for a very long time, and it's whether you're in that cabal and that club or not. And often women aren't welcomed into those clubs. Women are the ones that are always briefed against. The chap in charge of communications who briefed against lots of MPs was put in the Lords. So it's that culture that I would really like to see change, and I don't know if it's going to.
So tell us your thoughts about the people who we don't see as mere punters, mere people in the electorate. The figures behind Andy Burnham, the figures within Andy Burnham's cabal. How many women are there?
I think he's got some friends who have really advised him. I mean, Lou Haig and the new MP Annalise Midgley seem to have been the ones who've decided on all these jobs in the front bench, which, means that he's not sort of into having full control. But again, senior advisors are brought back from the Blair days, and it's always those very senior men that either keep their jobs or come back to kind of do the very serious decision making. And it will be interesting to see these changes that lots of us in Parliament are expecting. So far, there are an awful lot of very non-compliant, senior experienced women who've been completely left out. For example, people like Dr. Rosanna Allen-Khan, who you could imagine would have been a brilliant health secretary, people like Sarah Champion, Emma Lewell, Marsha de Cordova, Kate Ossamore, women, Yasmin Qureshi, women more on the left of the party who haven't been compliant or traditionally always loyal if they've got independent thought. And these are women who have for years and years achieved a great deal in campaigning, in Parliament, and are often left behind. Rachel Maskell, it would have been brilliant to see her. She gets so involved in so many things and is an expert on lots of things like public health. There are so many women who have just been completely left out, and you see these senior men coming back in time and time again.
How do we know that women in the Labour Party haven't been approached for very top jobs and haven't actually said, do you know what, the climate out there for women in the public eye is merciless, it is mean, it is misogynistic. I'm okay over here, I'm doing a really good job, that's absolutely fine by me. I am not, Rosie Duffield, condoning that misogyny at all, but I know it exists and you know it exists, and it's very hard sometimes at the end of your working day to think that's what I have to put up with in order to do my job.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good point. But I don't know any senior women MPs who've gone through that for years anyway, whether they're front benchers or back benchers, who would go, do you know what? Yeah, I'll take that on the average MP salary, and I won't increase my salary or my responsibilities or morals. It's not going to get worse necessarily. I don't personally know any women who've been approached who've said, no, thank you. So, I mean, I'm not going to betray any confidences.
Oh, go on. Oh, go on. Rosie,
They're
it's
not my
just
stories to
two
tell.
women
I
talking
can't do that.
together. We're just having a chat. Go on.
I wish I could. I wish I could, but I know that a lot of people have mentioned to me that they're really disappointed that some of those more senior women that I've mentioned, for example, a frontline A&E doctor was expected to get the job of health secretary. I think lots of people were really surprised she didn't, for example. So it's really a question of who you know, which cliques you're in, whether you're compliant or not, or deemed to be. And it's such a shame that that doesn't necessarily feel the same for the men.
What do you make of Andy Burnham? I mean, would you say that he's a man who's got a very equal head on his shoulders?
Yeah, I think he has a good approach. I think he's a good person, actually. Lots of people would have called the last Prime Minister a decent chap. That wasn't my opinion or my experience of him. And a lot of women would say the same. And I think decent chaps don't necessarily appoint people like Mandelson. But I think my own personal view of Andy is that actually he's a really decent guy. I like his vision. I like his politics. Let's just see how the rest of the party puts that into practice. For example, the kind of MPs that voted for everything that Keir said, and now some of them in senior positions under a very different leader. So it's going to be interesting what their constituents make of them doing very different things. And if you voted for one thing and then the U-turn on that thing, which was a few weeks later, I'm not sure it's clear what your own views are. And I think the public want people to be clear on their views, actually, not just a nodding dog going through the lobbies. So that's all very interesting.
Could you see yourself rejoining Labour under Andy Burnham's leadership, and do you think that he would like you back?
We've had conversations, and I'm definitely taking my time to see the way that things pan out, to see how well they do as a team, if there's a place for me. I've been an MP for 9 years. I've won 3 elections, one of which was incredibly difficult to keep my seat at. I'll be honest with you, whilst not being ruthlessly ambitious, I'm not just going to go and sit on the back benches while a lot of 2024 new MPs get senior jobs. So we would have to have a conversation.
OK, so you've had a conversation, but the conversation wasn't one where you were offered something substantial.
No, I mean, I haven't talked to him since he became Prime Minister. We've had lots of chats before that. And I'm not in any rush. He's very busy, obviously. So if the time comes that we can actually sit down and have a serious conversation about a role I might play, then yeah, I'm definitely open to that. The Labour Party hasn't, left my heart. Obviously, those are still my values deep down. But I think the party lost those, and I felt that they'd left me behind in the last couple of years. So if I feel that can return to the party and we can see it in government, then possibly.
Thank you very much indeed for talking to us. Rosie Duffield is the independent MP for Canterbury.